With working from home becoming a new reality for many people, some experts are warning that Canadians may see a change in how much they get paid. 1 in 5 respondents to an Angus Reid poll said they expect to continue working from home, even though after COVID-19 pandemic restrictions are lifted. Experts say it's inevitable to see salaries decrease because the cost and expense structure of work has changed. Many technology companies, such as Facebook and Shopify, have already announced employees will be given the option to stay at home. For more on this, we're joined by employment lawyer Howard Levitt. Good to have you on, Howard Levitt. Let me ask you about this, because Mark Zuckerberg told his, tell Facebook employees that this is pretty much an expectation. And some of the reasons that he gave is because if you move maybe to a more remote location where the cost of living is down, you shouldn't make as much money. Does that make any sense to you?
It makes sense, but it makes no legal sense. Here in Canada, that would be a constructive dismissal. You just can't cut wages for any reason, however much common sense it might make. Now, here's what they could do. They could say to an employee, you're welcome to stay at the office and your salary will remain intact. But if you want to work from home, here's what we're going to pay you. And they could do it based on where they're living. They could just have an arbitrary amount. It's 75% of what they were making before. They could make whatever deal they want with the employee, but only if they offer them the option of continuing to work as they have in the past from the office at full salary. Otherwise, a reduction in salaries in Canada, unlike Mark Zuckerberg in the States, is a constructive dismissal.
And what can the companies then, and speaking, I guess, in Canada, so the companies right across this country are finding ways to reconfigure office space to make sure that it will meet all the criteria in order to keep their employees safe. That's going to cost a lot of money. So whether it's plexiglass or, a change of venue, so the companies could say they have to pay a lot more, so they have to restructure what they pay out.
I understand the logic, but economic necessity has never been a defense to a wrongful dismissal case. Unless we're talking about a government order shutting you down, then of course you can lay people off with impunity. But subject to that, which is not what we're talking about here, there's no economic basis that legally permits an employer to reduce an employee's salary or cut their hours or lay them off or do anything else. It's just against our employment law structure. An employee would have recourse if that's what occurred.
So as offices begin to slowly open, depending on what phase we're in across the country, if there are employees who feel that the criteria in terms of, their protection, that they're worried about going to work because they don't think that it's a safe environment or it's been made safe enough, do they have the right to say, no, I'm going to stay at home and work from here?
Well, look, the employer has to accommodate safety. They do not have to accommodate it. So if it's genuine safe, they should have that an obligation to explain to them why it is safe if it is. And if the parties can't come to an agreement, which could be an unpaid leave of absence, they then call the civil safety inspector. They will come in. They will verify whether it's safe or not. But I've got to tell you, there's been over 280 such applications in Ontario, and the employee has only been successful in one of them. So the inspectors are finding these workplaces are safe in almost every case. And I think that's because employers, if it's not safe, could be sued for millions of dollars if someone constricts COVID-19. So they're making sure it's safe before letting people come back, especially if there's a complaint.
And just finally, let me ask you about for people that would be worried about using, and say they have to use public transit to get to their job, but they don't want to do that because they feel that their safety is compromised. Does that count for something that someone might say, I don't want to go to work, or does the employer have nothing to do with that?
The employer has nothing to do with that. And by the way, in Toronto, having just checked today, it's $10 to rent a car because there's no business car company. So you can rent your own car. The police aren't even enforcing tickets anymore, no parking zones, because they want people to be able to drive close to the location. So there really isn't much of an economic incentive to if they don't have one. But no, using public transit is not a defense.
Yeah, $10 car rental. Wow. Okay, Howard Levitt, thanks for joining us. Appreciate your time.